Hey guys, welcome back. Bolt Spider here, and what do you think we're looking at today? So today we're actually going to be looking at something that people from myself and a few other people from the Zodiac Duelist Discord thought of doing. I instantly thought, I wonder what decks would look like if there was a custom ban list just by cards that were used or were on the ban list over the past 20 years. So today we're looking at this format. It is the only cards that have been on the ban list format, or I need a better name for this. And a little description of this. This format is whatever card has touched the semi-limited section to the forbidden section of the ban list. This format will have a custom ban list as time goes on. Each match is a best of 3, so if you ever do a tournament about it, you can definitely do this. Cards have their pre-errated effects, so keep in mind in that. So things like Dark Strike Fighter, Firewall, and everything else has their pre-errata, so be very careful when you're playing this whole entire format. And also FTKs are illegal, even though most of them are banned. There are still some lurking around. Now let's get right into it. So there's quite a bit of cards on this list, and to be exact, there is a whopping total of 300 and I would say about 370 cards on this list alone. And there's a whole entire subsection right at the bottom that is a unusable list. So all these cards are pretty much illegal in the format because you cannot summon them, but you can still have them in your deck as a way of a discard fodder or something else because of how it is. So for Spellbook of Judgment and Fate, you can run them, but you're most likely just going to be activating the first or second effect of it. So I put it in the unusable section. Same for Xian Smoke Signal, Gateway of the Six, and Legendary Six Samurai Xian. Other cards like Totally Awesome is very impossible to make. But let's go through this whole entire format and let's see what there is. So for the forbidden section, we have 7 cards already. This was just me experimental going through hands and see what you could do. So things like Dragon Buster, Destruction Sword, Exodia the Forbidden One, Fiber Jar, Victory Dragon, Dark Strike Fighter, Magical Explosion, and Self-Destruct Button are forbidden. The reasons behind all this is because you have so much draw power in the format that Exodia is a FTK. Magical Explosion is another FTK because of so much draw power, so many spells, and all of that. Self-Destruct Button is unsportsmanlike, same as Victory Dragon, so I'd rather not have any of those in the format. Dragon Buster's Destruction Sword is a super toxic card, and I'd rather have that banned over Union Carrier because Union Carrier gives some more versatility later on, because as the ban list come and keep adding on, the cards that they add onto the list will be added onto here to the unlimited section depending on what the card is. And the final cards we have is Fiber Jar. This card is a reset button just like Self-Destruct Button, and Dark Strike Fighter because it's one of the most broken synchros because Trishula is legal. The limited section is very big, a lot of one-ofs, and it will remind people of what Perfect Circle format is. So we have things like Blackwing, Go through the Vague Shadow, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Cyber Jars, Cyberstein, Dark Magician of Chaos, Destiny Hero, Disc Commander, Fairy Tail Snow, Grand Soul, the Elemental Lord, Light and Darkness Dragon, Makura the Destructor, Morphing Jar 1 and 2, Night Assailant, Yatagarasu, Firewall Dragon, and Topological Gumbler Dragon to wrap up the monsters. Then we have Brain Control, Card Destruction, Card to Safe Return, Change of Heart, Cold Waves, Confiscation. I am trying to go as fast as I can with this. Dark Hole, Delinquent Duo, Dimension Fusion, Foolish Burial, Giant Trinade, Graceful Charity, Feather Duster, Heavy Storm, Mind Control, Mirage and Nightmare, Monster Reborn, 1-for-1, Painful Choice, Pot of Greed, Premature Burial, Raigeki, Sky Striker, Mecha, Widow Anchor, Snatch Deal, Soul Charge, Forceful Sentry. Then we also have cards like Crush Card Virus, Deck Devastation Virus, Eradicator Epidemic Virus, Exchange of the Spirits, Imperial Order, Red Reboot, and Return from the Dimension. And finally, for the semi-limited, we have Destiny Hero Malicious, because it's very balanced of where it is. So, a brief rundown of this section. It is for the super broken cards that you can't really have at 3 like Pot of Greed. You have to put them down to 1, so once your tournament goes off, you gather all the players' deck lists, and then all you just do is pretty much see what was most played and hit it from there. Kind of like if there was a 3 of a card, you can hit that down easily, but if it's a 1 of, you have to talk along with the community that you're doing with it, so the next tournament it's going to be better. Like, the one thing I think I'm going to cut next later down the line are all the hand rip cards, because those are very, very powerful. And if you notice, things like Brain Control, Change of Heart, Mind Control, and Snatch Steal are all limited, so you have 4 ways of taking control of your opponent's monsters. Also, we have Monster Reborn and Premature Burial in the format, so that gives a little there. Along with things like Card of Safe Return, your Foolish Burial, Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, and so many other cards just to give you advantage and make this format super fast, because by the time this format becomes where it is very balanced, we're just going to have to wait on ban lists to come out. There will be a rule that I'll put later on when more of these cards that have erratas in the future get banned, so they can come back with an errata, so they're played a little differently. The only one of which that won't come back is Dark Strike Fighter, because you don't need that hard once per turn. You push enough, and then it just does what it does. And then I'm not going to go through a lot of the unlimited, because it's just a lot of cards that are there. A few things that you do have to look out for when looking at the unlimited section. You have all 3 gadgets with Ultimate Offering legal. Then you also have other things like Grand Soul, the Elemental Lords. So if you can link off your gadgets and have 5 Earths in the graveyard, you can Grand Soil something back. And you can also use things like Symbol of Heritage. Some of the things that are legal at 3 are cards like Black Dragon, so you can play it with gadgets, do a lot of other things with it. Chaos Sorcerer is just there. Cyber Dragon is a power special summon if you run multiples. Dandelion is a token generator. All the Dragon Rollers are at 3. I might tone them down a little bit, but this is just a work in progress. And we also have things like Maxi. This card is very powerful, but I don't feel like it's needed right now, since it's the only hand trap that is in here outside of things like Gores. But overall, I feel like that this format is different. Now, if we look at the normal monsters, we have left arm, left leg, right arm, right leg, and Cleafort Scout. So with this, I'd rather have the headband while you have all the pieces limited or unlimited, so you can use it with things like Advanced Ritual Art. And Cleafort Scout, you can search, I think it's Sacrifice, and that's it. I believe that's all it could search. I think. Is it just one Cleafort card or one? Yep. Well, add one Cle card. Yep. So yeah, you can add your Cleafort Scout, or you can add another Sacrifice to your hand, so you can summon out something like Apocryphort Towers. And there's just many things in this format that just gets around stuff. We also have Spiral Gear Drone, Quick Fix, Master Plan, but that's pretty much it for Spirals. Outside of that, with, I believe it is Spiral Resort. Other things you do have to watch out for is Zodiac Rat Pier, along with Barrage, and Broadbull, and Trident. But there's not really that many Beast Warriors that are really worth searching outside of something like Coach Soldier Wolfbark, which I believe only summons out Fire Beast Warriors. Also, you do have Brotherhood of Firefist Spirit, but that really doesn't do much. Yeah, this targets a level 4 Fire Beast Warrior, so you can summon out another copy of itself. But other than that, this format seems really fun and interesting what you can do. A few of the things that you do have to remember: Advanced Ritual Art is in the format, so you can Advanced Ritual Art a way to summon out pretty much any of these here, so watch out for Demise King of Armageddon, and many other things. The Synchro monsters are a big thing to look at. Brionic has no errata. Doloran is very hard to summon, so that's a good thing. Trishula Dragon Eye of the Ice Barrier is at 3. True King of All Calamities is at 3. But it's very hard to summon it because you need the Lithiosagem and the Trishula to summon it. Then we also have things like Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. The only card that you can summon off of it, or summon to it, is Outer Entity Azathoth, and it only shuts down a few cards compared to the actual game. One of the cards I'm definitely thinking of hitting down is a Hero Lives, or emergency card call, but I think a Hero Lives is a better choice. Then you can even have a small Blackwing engine, because we have the Black Whirlwind, Gale, Kalut, Steam, and you can also have Gofu as well. So that's quite nice to see. Dragon Rulers are completely crazy, and they're definitely going to get toned down, hence why Painful Choices at 1 might hit that down to 0, because it's a very powerful card, as we've seen in the past. Magical Scientist is terrible because it doesn't have any thing that you can summon, but it's still a level 1 monster that you can do stuff. Well, actually no, you have Thousand Eye Restricted Norden. Those are 2 of the cards that you could summon. I think Magical Scientist is though. No, he's every fusion. So yeah, Magical Scientist, very good card, so keep an eye out on that, especially with Triple Norden. Other things that we do have are things like Kaiser Coliseum, Upstart Goblin, Into the Void at 3. You have so many other things like Mass Driver that really doesn't do much. Pot of Avarice, Pot of Duality. Pendulum Call is actually playable because Double Iris Magician and Wisdom Eye Magician. Psycho's Light's there, so if you play a super heavy monster deck, that's quite nice. Then we also have Triple Drone, Triple Multi-Roll, Triple Engage, Triple Kagari. So you could pretty much play Sky Strikers with all of that, and only one Widow Anchor, because I feel like things that snatch things from the opponent should be at 1 for this format. Sky Strikers might get hit a little, but they don't really have that much going for them in this format with only 5 cards, so they're more of an engine. You have Insector, Hornet, and Dragonfly, which Dragonfly summons out a Hornet if Hornet leaves it, and we also have Smoke Grenade at a Thief, so that's quite nice for that little engine. But overall, this is more of a engine format. And then when we get to the trap cards, there's quite a bit. We have Bottomless, Compulse, Dimension Prison, Drop Off, many other things like Macrocosmos, Mirror Force, Reckless Greed, very powerful card. Like very powerful cards like Sixth Sense, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, which I'm gonna move Sixth Sense now all the way to banned because that card is so terribly broken, and we don't need a +5 or 6 in the format, so that's something to keep a note on. We also have things like Skill Drain, Time Seal, Torrential Tribute, Trap Dust Shoot with Mind Crush. So I'm gonna keep that there for now until people start using it, because as we go through this list is gonna get so drastic. And we also have things like Vanity's Emptiness is at 3. And Wall of Revealing Light, then we're back down to the unusables. But I want to give you guys a little showcase of what you can build. And when I said at the beginning of the video, it reminds people of Perfect Circle. It's actually just Perfect Circle with more cards. Now, I forgot to replace the Dark Strike Fighter with a card, and it could be really anything that you really need. So, I don't run any 3s. I don't run any... pretty much any 3s, or outside of the one Disc Commander, no 2s, 3s. So that's definitely something to look out for. I think the last card I'm just going to put in is going to be a very generic card that you can really just play in anything. And I feel like that Trishula is going to be the card that everyone plays because they want to try and make it. And when we look at test hands, this stuff is pretty nuts. So you can just rip something out of your opponent's hand. Let's say you want to rip Stratos out of your opponent's hand, then you normal summon out your own Stratos, and we get either the Mally or the Disc Commander. I would go with Disc Commander because you get draws, and if you draw something like a Premature Burial or Monster Reborn, you get more of draws, and that's pretty much the end of your turn there. Then you also have something like this, Destiny Draw, Graceful Charities. So we're just going to Destiny Draw, discarding the Mally, drawing 2, we get a Cyber Dragon and a Lad. We can Foolish Burial the Destrudo away, or a Fairy Tale Snow, or anything that we really need. So I think I'm gonna just send that, and then Graceful Charity we fire off. I'm gonna dump the Cyber Dragon and that. We're gonna banish the Mallies to summon out the Mally because that's actually very good. And we're just gonna 1-for-1 the Cyber Dragon away, summoning out the Disc Commander. But there's not really that many links that we can go into, as we've saw from the list. So there's not a lot, but it's there. There's really not much that you can do. You can go Gumblar stuff, but other than that, this is actually a very interesting format. And this is why I got rid of Dark Strike Fighter, because of this card, Destrudo. But yeah, Destrudo is such a powerful card for this that I think it might be a card that gets banned. Also, we do have Unerrata Crush Card Virus, which is pretty insane. And we have stuff like this, where we could just Hero Lives, Normal Summon Armageddonite, Stacker Deck. Or something like this, which does quite a bit. We go Hero Lives, summon out the Stratos. Then we're going to use the Stratos effect, and this is going to grab a hero, which I always grab Disc Commander because it's a very powerful card. Normal summoning out our Armageddonite using the effect, sending a Destiny Hero Malicious. So this is pretty much like Perfect Circle, but with extra additions to it. So we can summon something out like a Summon Sork, or we can summon out something like a Decosta Emerald or Exciton Knight. So it's very vast utility of how this whole entire game works. So what we're going to do, we're going to send a monster from our deck to the graveyard, and I'm going to, of course, send the Destrudo, very powerful card. We can activate the Confiscation, and most of the time you want to hit their power cards out of their hand, like a hero, like their 1-ofs or their 3-ofs. So it's definitely one thing to look out for. And instead of playing Trish, you could also play something like a Beatrice, because Beatrice is a very good card and it's a Foolish Burial. So you can send something like a Fairy Tale Snow on your opponent's turn. But I don't want to keep this video any much longer. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I want to know what you guys think on this custom format, because we've had so many custom formats enter the fray and just die out, that I think this is going to be the custom format that I use quite a bit if I ever want to do tournaments in the future. But I hope you guys do enjoy, and see you guys in the next video.